I've always been a maker at heart, even though I don't have the intelligence to be a maker such as the ones that we're seeing here. For myself personally, when I'm looking at things out into the house or the world, I'm always wondering why and what does that mean. For me, being able to see a problem is always something which is fun and it's interesting. How can we do something differently that is not going to be done by somebody else? Like for instance, if you have a plumber at your house, why can that plumber be the person that's going to be underneath my sink doing something? I can do that. Or if you have something wrong with your car, and maybe it's something that's with your car that isn't available and you want to make it yourself, and I've done that too. So from a passion from a very rudimentary level, I've always been a maker at heart. But also when it comes to professionally, and this is where my true passion comes in. My career started out on Wall Street when I first got out of college, and one of the joys I had was raising money from investors to be able to take companies public. And so what we did is we found different companies out there, and they had some excellent and amazing products. People that looked at things differently, things like all of you out there right now are also taking a look at and saying, what does that mean? And so what we would do is we would analyze everything, we'd look at the numbers, and then what we would do is sell that to the company, to the public. One of those companies today is one of the most profitable companies that's out there, and that happens to be Medtronic. Medtronic is a defibrillator company, and if you guys know what that is, you've seen it all on TV. A person goes, they die, they have a heart attack, and they try to rush into the hospital quick enough, and then they rip open the shirt, and the doctors are around, and they say, clear! And they zap the guy, and then he comes back to life. Well, with Medtronic realized is that what happens if somebody right here like me just goes and goes on the stage? I'm going to die, because by the time I get to the hospital, it's most likely not going to happen. And Medtronic, what these guys saw was something differently. And they said, we can do better. And so they took this portable device that can go, anybody can put it on their shirt. It's very easy, it's got simple steps, and it just goes on their chest, and it zaps the person. And it gives them the right amount of energy, and then they are brought back to life. Countless people have been saved by the person that was the maker of this. But then after Wall Street, one of the things that I realized is, well, I love working with people that are making things. I went to the other side where I got them jobs. And so I've been owning my own company now. It's called Zion Business Solutions for the last 16, 17 years. And Zion Business Solutions, what we specialize in is a lot of engineers, a lot of people that make things. We also work with a lot of companies that do exactly this, and they make a lot of different things. So the joy I have is getting to take a look and meet with all of you as I'm going to today, walking around. I'm going to see people that, who knows, 5, 10 years from now, either I'm going to be speaking with them on their companies to find them talent, or I'm going to be speaking with them to get jobs. And I get to see these things right now that are going to make such a difference in the world. But the title of everything that I'm talking about today is seeing the forest through the trees. So while I have my background right here that I've talked to you about, I'm looking at things from a business perspective. So often, there's this thing about we look at things and we're very myopic on what we see in front of us. And what we see in front of us, we think that's absolutely all that's there. But that's just a small area, and that's what makes all of the people in this room so unique and so different. Because what is a maker? A maker has a lot of things, and one of the biggest things that a maker is a person that thinks differently. That's what makes you stand out. I mean, if you take a look at it, you're that one person that is looking at a problem, and you don't see a problem, you see a solution. And you're always taking a look at something uniquely, and you're not like everybody else, where somebody else, I have a friend of mine, and he says, it's so frustrating, Kevin, because people think inside this box, and they're always thinking this way. And he's like, but I'm thinking this way. And he's so smart, a lot of times for me, it's difficult because he's so many steps ahead. And that's one of the things that makes a maker is you guys think differently, and it's awesome. Don't ever let that discourage you. The other thing which makes a maker, you guys look at solutions. When we, as regular people, see a product. Right now, this is a cell phone. Well, this cell phone right here, just a couple of years ago, was just used to call people. But some maker came up with the idea, and I think I had one of the very first ones. And they said a cell phone isn't good enough. You know, why would I want to have a cell phone when I got to take my laptop? Back then we had Palm Pilots, and Why do I want to use that? Can't we combine it all together? No one else had done it before. And this maker took this very ordinary product that was so successful and made something that has changed everything. So what a maker does is not only do you think differently, but you look at ordinary products and you're coming across these ordinary products and making them something that has never happened. That's amazing. Another thing, what is a maker? You guys, you're never, ever satisfied. And that's one of the best things about makers. For you, it's all about improving and making it better. And is enough enough? No, there is no such thing as enough being enough. You're constantly changing and tweaking and rethinking. And what does all of this mean? So, yes, I've created this cell phone, right? And yes, it can now do computers and it can sync to the internet. And then now you get guys who are having this stuff hooked wirelessly up so that we can check our health. Or with Google Glass, where we can see things and we can talk, and it's always being improved. You guys are never, ever, ever satisfied. And that's at the thinking differently part. So one of the other things about what makes a maker, and this is something that I love about you guys, I love about it, is you're always asking the question, why? Why? Why are we doing this? Why does this only have to be limited to this little box? Why does this have to be this big? Maybe it can be flexible. Maybe I can take this and fold it up and put it in my pocket. I mean, you guys are asking questions that no one else really thinks about. But what you're doing is you're asking yourselves, what does it mean? And you're taking it so much beyond what normal people think. You're never, ever satisfied, and this ties in with the whole thing. And I'm going to get to the forest in a minute. When I was in high school, I was a bit of a nerd, kind of dating myself, but I programmed on an Apple II. So that'll kind of give you an idea. For us, this was this amazing computer, so powerful. We had the 5 1/4-inch floppy disks. We had virtually no memory. I think I had 16K. We were talking about 16K. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so much memory. It was just amazing that we could do this. And I could just spend countless hours working on that Apple II. And then the Commodore 64 came out, unheard of. And that's where my passion for technology came in. But for me, I was that kid that was a nerd. And I was that kid that everybody looked at and says, why are you doing this? Why aren't you playing basketball or soccer? Or why aren't you in the plays? And they just didn't understand what I was thinking. And I get it. You see, this is the one thing that makes makers so special, is we're often misunderstood. Makers think so differently, and you're so far ahead of everybody else that people look at you and you don't necessarily fit into those small little areas that society will put us into. And it's like, if it's not nice and neat and you just fall into this nice, small, little segment, they're concerned. And what does that mean? Please, celebrate being different. Celebrate being misunderstood. Let's take a look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is a guy, I presume all of you saw the movie Jobs. What you're looking at is a man that is entirely misunderstood. This is a guy that fought and he got kicked out of his own company. Why did he get kicked out of his own company? Because he was never satisfied and he was misunderstood. They said, why are you not running this company like a regular business? Why aren't you running it like IBM or Microsoft? And just so you guys can be aware, is those companies are run very much like a business. We got an ROI, we got a product, and we're going to follow every single thing else, and you put it all through the plan. Now, Steve was like thinking, I don't care about that stuff. I want to make this product that no one has ever made, and it needs to be elegant. It needs to be simple. It needs to be something that is beautiful. And by taking that product, he changed the world. And then they fired him because he was different. They fired him. And now what happened? Steve Jobs ended up becoming that one guy that has changed all of our lives. Every single one throughout the whole world has been changed because of this misunderstood person. And then even at the very end when you saw him, You saw this guy reaching out, and he was never, ever, ever satisfied. If you remember, one of the key things that Steve Jobs had is he wouldn't release anything to the public until he was absolutely, absolutely satisfied that this is as perfect as it can be. Now, I might step on some toes here, but if you're taking a look at where Apple is today, they're kind of like going along the same path that a lot of your other companies have gone. Your computer screens are now bigger. They're a little bit faster. That's nothing new. It's more of a following. Steve was a maker. He was a guy that was misunderstood. He was a guy that got fired from the company that he started, and they were so upset and they almost went out of business, they brought him back. Thank God they brought him back. Look what we have today because this misunderstood person never gave up. And so that kind of ties into what I love so much about what I do, is makers are entrepreneurs at heart. An entrepreneur is what I am. I have been my own business owner, and I've built businesses for the last 25 years. So for me, sitting behind a desk and listening to somebody else tell me what I'm supposed to do, that's just not really who I am. But on the other hand, nor are you guys. You are the guys out there that are so different on your thinking. Most of you are going to form your own companies. Most of you are going to be taking such a different track. And I encourage that because that's what this country needs. This country was founded on inventions. This country was founded on things that made us great. This country was founded on people who thought differently. So instead of improving this cell phone to make it a little bigger and a little faster, this country is founded on people who invented the cell phone. This country is founded on people who maybe took this and maybe put it behind my ear. I have no idea. That's for you guys to figure out. So, what makes a maker? I'm tying this all in together. So what makes a maker is the difference between you guys and what so many other people are is, if you remember, Apple had the 1984 commercial. This is back when the Mac came out, and everybody was kind of like this. They're walking like drones. You remember that? They were walking like these drones following, and they were making a mimicry of IBM. Because everybody was following this line, just going straight down like this. And these guys, what they had is they were seeing the forest. They weren't seeing the forest, excuse me. In that show, what they were seeing is the trees. That tree is that person right in front of them. That tree is that saying, hey, let's make this better by making it bigger, making it faster, a little thinner. Boring. That's not different. What we were seeing in Apple is they rethought everything. When you have Steve Jobs was so far ahead of us. He saw the forest through the trees. What he did is he saw the whole picture. He saw where his products could go. He was so beyond everything else. What he was able to do is capture all of this stuff and pull it into products that actually got him through. He created his own forest. So, what does this mean for you, the makers out there? Right now, I think you can see it in my heart. I'm passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about you guys. I'm passionate about seeing you succeed. I love it. Nothing gets me more excited than seeing somebody with a vision that takes it to a different level. So you too, you need to have that passion. Never lose it. Number 2, think differently. Don't take what the teacher says and says, this is the way it is. Ask why. Not saying be disobedient to the teacher. But that teacher might be very linear in their thinking. If you got other ideas, don't let society just hold you back on a single thought process. Be creative. Allow your mind to expand. Think differently. Allow yourself to fail. Because failure is also one of the areas that we have the greatest growth from. And number 3, what makes a maker? What does that mean for you? You're going to see things that people don't see, but that's exactly what makes you special. Embrace that. Know that it's okay to see things that people don't. But on the other hand, for people like me that are not as smart as you guys, please have some patience because we don't get it. We love your products. They're awesome. But on the other hand, I just don't always see things the way that you do. So a little patience, but realize I get it. You see things differently, and that's awesome. On the other hand, I was just speaking with a person, and he just became a lawyer. So congratulations on your passing the bar. And this is one of the things that you guys got to do, is you got to think professionally. So when you are ready to take your product and go to the market with it, seek professional advice, get an attorney. Find out what that means. Don't just say, I got this awesome product and run with it. You need to get legal representation. And then also one of the other things which is very, very important, you see it all the time, be careful. Be careful with promises. Make sure that attorney has got it locked up for you, because there's a lot of people out there, they're going to see young talent and they're going to take everything from you. So be careful on that. And lastly, as I said before, don't give up. Like I said, failures are what makes us grow. So when your product fails, awesome. You're growing from that. Use that experience, pick yourself up, dust off, charge ahead, continue. You fail again. Again, you're going to get stronger, grow, learn from that, get up, do it again. But the thing is eventually, you're going to hit the home run. And that's what you got to keep your eye on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Embrace being different. Embrace who you are. Embrace changing the world. Embrace thinking differently, because that's what makes you so special. And maybe one day I will be fortunate enough to work with you or see you and maybe have the opportunity of your product here in my hand or in my household. Thank you very much.